The fluorescent lights of the big box store hummed like a disturbed hive. It was January 2025, the launch week of Prismatic Evolutions. For Leo, this wasn't about the art or the nostalgia. It was about the spread. If he could corner the local stock of special illustration, rare evolutions, he could flip his life from a basement bedroom to a high-rise. He stood at the front of the line, his heart a frantic metronome. Behind him, the crowd shifted, a mix of tired parents and desperate collectors. Among them was Mrs. Gable, a woman who looked like she was made of parchment and peppermint. She held a crumpled drawing of a Sylvian. It was her grandson's 8th birthday, and he'd asked for just one thing. When the manager rolled out the pallet, the thin veneer of community snapped. Leo moved like a predator. He shoved a teenager aside, his eyes locked on the booster bundles. But as he reached for the final 3 displays, a frail hand touched his arm. "Please, dear," Mrs. Gable whispered, her voice trembling. "Just one for Toby." It's all he wanted. Finders keepers, Granny, Leo spat. He didn't just pull away, he lunged. In the chaotic surge of the crowd, he threw a sharp, calculated elbow. It caught the old woman squarely in the chest. She tumbled backward, her head hitting the edge of a metal display rack. With a sickening, wet crack in the screaming confusion that followed, Leo slipped out the fire exit, his duffel bag heavy with cardboard treasures. Mrs. Gable died in the hospital 3 hours later. The security footage was grainy, the crowd too dense, and Leo's face was obscured by a black gator. The police called it a tragic accident during a retail surge. Leo was free, and he was rich. The first pull, 2 nights later, Leo sat in his apartment, surrounded by stacks of Prismatic Evolutions. He began to film a live break for his followers. "All right, guys, let's hunt some wafis and gold stars." He smirked at the camera. He ripped the first pack. The sound was wrong. Instead of the crisp snap of foil, it sounded like a dry, rattling cough. He pulled the cards out. They were damp, a dark, brownish liquid, smelling faintly of peppermint and antiseptic, seeped from the edges. The rare slot wasn't a Pokémon. It was a card he'd never seen. The artwork was a hyper-realistic illustration of a grocery store aisle. In the center was a slumped figure in a floral cardigan. Leo dropped the card. "Very funny. Custom card trolls," he muttered, though his hands shook. The hoard dissolves. Over the next week, the haunting accelerated. Leo's inventory began to change. He would wake up to find his pristine, PSA-graded 10s cracked inside their plastic slabs, as if crushed by a heavy, invisible thumb. Every time he closed his eyes, he heard it, the rhythmic thump-thump-thump of a walker on linoleum. He tried to sell his remaining stock to a local shop. When he opened his briefcase, the shop owner recoiled. "What is this, man? Some kind of sick joke?" Leo looked down. The bright, colorful Eevee boxes were gone. In their place were hundreds of crumpled, hand-drawn pictures of Sylvian, all signed "Love, Grandma" in fading ink. The ink was wet. It looked like blood. The final set. By Friday, Leo was a wreck. He was broke. His accounts were banned for fraudulent stock, and his apartment felt like a tomb. The air was freezing, smelling of old lilies. He found the last pack on his kitchen table, a single Prismatic Evolutions booster. "Take it," he screamed at the empty air. Take it all back. The pack opened itself. The cards slid out onto the table. One by one, they revealed the story. Energy card. A pale blue ghost energy. Trainer card. The neglected grandson. The art was Toby, crying over an empty gift box. The hit, a gold-etched card. The name on the top read, Vengeful Matriarch. The temperature dropped until Leo's breath misted. Behind him, the thump 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 stopped. He just wanted one, Leo. A raspy, papery voice sighed directly into his ear. Leo turned, but there was no person, only a swirling vortex of razor-sharp holographic foil. Thousands of Pokémon cards flew from his shelves, spinning like circular saw blades. They flayed him with 1,000 paper cuts, each one stinging with the scent of peppermint. When the morning sun hit the apartment, there was no sign of Leo. There was only a pile of worthlessly shredded cardboard, and resting on top, a single, pristine Sylvian card delivered, finally, to a mailbox 3 towns over. The moral of this story is a grim reminder for the modern age. Greed has a high conversion rate, but its debt is always paid in full. In the frantic pursuit of the hustle, it's easy to forget that behind every plastic slab and holographic foil is a human element. When you strip away empathy for the sake of a profit margin, you aren't just collecting cardboard, you're collecting consequences. Leo learned too late that some things are truly one of one, and a life is a price no pull rate can justify. And as always, remember, the hunt for the rarest treasures should never cost you your soul. Stay sharp, stay kind, and keep your eyes on the shadows. This is the Bear's Den, signing off.